I worked as a closer for Davie Forgaty's ecom offer. The offer was doing over $1 million a month. Now, I've been a closer for about 3 years. I've closed about $600,000 in sales for my own offer. I hit $81,000 profit in a single month. And I've helped multiple coaches hit consistent 20K months. So I'm not a rookie when it comes to sales. But what I saw on the inside of Davie's operation genuinely changed how I think about marketing, coaching offers, and trust forever. And I just want to be honest with you guys and tell you everything I learned, because I think the coaching and info industry is lying to you about what actually closes deals. So let's get into it. So back in October of last year, everything in my personal life had kind of fallen apart. I was engaged to my girlfriend of 5 years, and then a month later, we broke up. I wasn't working much on my own offer at the time. I didn't have the motivation. I was just kind of wandering through, no real plan, just kind of traveling in limbo. And around December, I made a decision. For the next few months, before I had everything figured out again, I was gonna do a high ticket sales job for somebody else's offer just to keep income coming in while I got my head right. And that's when I saw it. Davie Forgaty's team posted on their Instagram story that they were looking for closers. Now you have to understand, Davie isn't just some random guy in the coaching space. This is someone who built Udi, you know, the giant wearable blanket, into a brand doing over $1 billion in sales. He's a shark on Shark Tank. He has years of content on YouTube. In the ecom and entrepreneurship world, this guy is a celebrity. There were over 500 applications just for this closer position, and I didn't apply through the public post, though. I came in through a sales agency that a friend of mine runs. They put me forward. 4 people got interviewed, 2 got hired. I was one of them. And I remember the interview because I said something kind of crazy and it worked. The sales manager asked me basically as a test. He said, let's say it's Friday night, you've got a date, but we need you to hit a certain number this week. I think it was 50,000 cash collected. What do you do? And I said, all right, first things first, we need to establish how hot this girl is. And honestly, if it's me, she's probably a 9 or a 10 that I'm taking out. I said, here's the thing, I'm still going on the date, but I'm also working Saturday, and I'm not just closing 1 deal, I'm gonna close 2 deals and surpass the number because that's what I do. Sales manager just laughed, said he'd never heard anyone answer it like that before, but that he loved the confidence. And yeah, a couple days later, they told me I had the position. So I jumped in, and just like any new offer, there's a learning curve. New product, new market, new scripts. So there were 2 offers at the time. One was the higher ticket for people doing a minimum of $1 million per year, and then there was the lower, still high ticket for more beginners in ecom. Now I noticed within the first week something started to feel off. Not bad off, good off actually. These prospects, especially the newer business owners, by the time I got to the price, they just handed over their credit card. I wasn't even fully warmed back up on my sales skills at this point. I hadn't memorized every line of the pitch. I was still figuring it out. And they were still buying at like a 50% close rate. So I had to ask myself, what is actually happening here? Because this isn't just me. Like, I'm good at sales, but this can't just be me. Now, the first thing I realized is that when you have years of YouTube content, when you've been a shark on Shark Tank, when you've done over $1 billion in sales with a brand people have actually heard of, people trust you. And not just casually trust you, they trust you deeply. We're living in a world right now where trust is at an all-time low, in institutions because of AI, and online coaches especially. Everyone's seen the guru scams, everyone's been burned or knows somebody who has. So when someone like Davie shows up and he's real, that trust becomes worth more than any sales script ever could. Part of my process was always asking prospects, hey, there are so many ecom offers out there, like why Davie? Why actually go with him? I'd ask that to get a little bit of friction, to get them to sell themselves back into the offer. And nearly every single time they said some version of the same thing. They said he just doesn't seem like a scammer like everyone else. He doesn't give that vibe. He just seems honest. Now, I had to think about that. That answer really stuck with me. He just seems honest. And that answer, that word, made me go back and actually study what Davie was putting out. What about his content made people say that? Now, his content wasn't hyper edited. He didn't talk in this exaggerated hype man way. He didn't make big promises. He just talked about what he actually does, because he actually does the things he claims. And the setting of his content was organic. It would be him getting a haircut in a villa. It would be him standing with an actual crowd of people asking him questions. I remember one where it's raining, people are holding umbrellas, and they're just asking him about starting an ecom business, and he's answering the question. No studio, no teleprompter energy, just him being himself and the camera happening to be on while he's speaking. And here's something I need you to actually internalize, because this changes everything. His content operated under the idea that the camera happened to be on while he was already doing his thing, as opposed to him doing his thing because the camera was on. There's a massive difference between those two things. One makes you look like an obvious authority. The other makes it look like you have infinite time in your day just to go make content. And here's the kicker, that organic content, they became the ads. They weren't running separate polished ads. They literally took his organic content and ran it as paid ads. Same raw, authentic footage, same vibe. Now people want to know what the funnel actually looked like what was the actual system? And the part that's interesting is that this was the simplest system you could ever imagine. This is gonna be the most simple Miro board that I've ever built. First of all, Davie had very basic content I was saying before, where the camera happens to be on, not he's speaking because the camera's on. And that oftentimes became his best performing ads as well. And I can kind of show you guys what one of his ads looked like. I'll play through it. You guys can look it up on the ads library itself.
We just hit
but it would be
record
stuff
month
like this.
Just shy of 300K this month, and it's our 4th month running the product. My name is Tristan Duke, and I sell high-ticket fitness products to women. I sell Pilates reformers.
And how's it going?
Going wonderful. We just hit our record month of just shy of 300K.
Look, he's just interviewing someone that he's worked with. That's how simple that was, right? He could have been doing that without the camera on. Here's another one.
I spent over $100 million on Facebook ads, and people often ask me, what's the secret? Is it my creatives? Is it the media
It looks kind of like interview style.
Is it our Facebook ad account structure? For most people, none of that matters.
Very raw, very organic. We'll go one more as well. I like this one a lot.
You got to fundamentally ask yourself, if I'm selling supplements, is there going to be someone that
he's literally
sells
just
these
getting his hair cut,
supplements
and it looks like he's
over the
speaking to
next
someone. I don't even know if he
2-3 years
is.
That is also going to achieve the results that I want to achieve in my life. So let's say your goal is to create $50 million in revenue, and you want X million dollars in profit.
Now, there are 3 main paths that actually got people to really trust Davie and then buy. Path A was that a prospect would see his ad, they would apply to book in a call, and then they would continue to consume his content. So they would watch his long form content and his short form content. So he has hundreds of videos on YouTube at this point. And first thing someone's probably going to do is search up your Instagram after they've booked in that call, right? Now, you need to make sure that your Instagram actually redirects to your YouTube, because even if you don't have a lot of videos, but you have a couple of niche videos like the one I'm making right now, that's what's going to nurture your prospects and actually get them to trust, to know, like, and trust you. Then you get people on a sales call and they're already bought, right? Or they're already pre-sold. The second path, path B, is that people would find his YouTube channel organically first. And although Davie has a shit ton of followers, right? He has almost 900,000 subscribers now. He's gone up a lot in a short period of time. I know people that have 500 to 1,000 followers. They get 50 to 100 views per video and they make 20K a month. So don't underestimate it. Don't feel shitty about yourself because you don't have as many views as Davie. You don't need as many views as Davie to do $1 million a year. Now, from the YouTube, people would binge watch that. They would apply to book in a call. They're already pre-sold at this point. Maybe they continue to watch his content, and then there's the sales call. They're ready to hand over their credit card. Path C, prospects sees an ad. You guys are going to notice a recurring theme here. They investigate his IG. They go to his YouTube channel. This is where the magic happens. This is where you nurture. This is where people get to spend a lot of content units with you, because sure, they could spend, a bunch of 30-second times with you on your Instagram, but how much would they need to consume for just one YouTube video like the one you're watching right now? Quite a bit more. So they would watch his YouTube right here. They'd watch videos. Here's some of his titles. My AI Shopify store made its first sale in 1 hour. Why I spent $5 million to move to Queensland. So some brand building right here. How I got Harry Potter to license my brand. So some real authority. And then people would book in a call. They're already pre-sold. Go to a sales call and boom, look, the prospects are always trusting. They are always pre-sold. There's no fancy funnel here, no crazy email sequence like someone like Jeremy Haynes says to do, which definitely works, by the way. But that's the point, is that all these little mechanisms or all these little levers that would make a huge difference in someone's funnel, that would make their marketing far more efficient, their sales systems, that would make them make so much more money. Davie didn't have that in place. And sure, maybe if he did, it would make a tremendous difference for him too. But that's not the point. The point is that the authority and the trust, it did the heavy lifting for him. And that's exactly the type of mindset that we need to start to have. Now, without any real sales system, this offer was doing over $500,000 a month when I got there. And if this was any other company without Davie's brand behind it, the numbers wouldn't work, the close rate wouldn't be there, they wouldn't be profitable. but Davie's authority covered for all of it. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Most coaches think they have a sales problem. They think they need a better script, a better follow-up sequence, a better objection handler, and those things matter. I'm not saying they don't at all, but what I saw at Davie's operation was proof that if you don't get the trust right, if people already believe in you before they ever get on a call, the call becomes something different. It's not a sales call anymore, it's a payment collection call. That's the difference. And the way you get there is through what I call the trust funnel. Not just an ad funnel, not just a content strategy, a specific way of building trust at scale through content before the call ever happens. That's literally my USP for my offer. That's what I help coaches build, and I made a whole video breaking down exactly what that looks like, and I'll link that above. Go watch it after this. Look, whether you're doing 3K a month or 50K a month, if your sales calls feel like you're dragging someone over the line, that's a trust problem, not a sales problem. The coaches who make this look easy, they're not just better at closing. Not at all, actually. They've done the work before the call that makes closing inevitable. Davie didn't have a perfect funnel. He didn't have a perfect team when I got there, but he had years of showing up as an authentic authority, talking about what he actually does, letting the camera catch him in the real moments. And that built something no script can replicate. So if you're watching this and you're in the coaching or consulting space, ask yourself this question. By the time someone books a call with you, what have they already seen? What have they already consumed? Do they already trust you? Because if the answer is no, that's where you start. If you want to help building that, that's literally what I do. The link to work with me is in the description. Come talk to me. And if you're new here, I made a full video on exactly how the trust funnel works and how to build it from scratch. Watch that next. See you in the next one.